Hello YouTube land. I'm making a video. What do I normally do? What I do is I drink and I know things. Anyway, in light of the season 8 episode 1 having come out, I wore my shirt. Anyway, Barr came out just a few minutes ago and spoke about releasing the redacted version of Mueller report. And of course, Democrats are going crazy. And in fact, it was kind of funny. Some Democrats in the press corps went a little crazy. And it's like so easy to tell what side they're on. And the funny thing is, a couple of things in there. Number one, he was saying about the president's the president's emotional states and all that having come into play for making a determination of whether or not the president had obstructed justice. And one of the reporters basically said, you're trying to spin the report before we even get our hands on it. Well, I think the reporter wasn't paying attention because his liberal blindness, all I could see is liberal stuff, kept him from hearing what Barr had said. That is what Mueller said, was that the president was angry about the investigation and the press and his political opponents using the investigation to try and undermine him and hurt him. And that was one of the reasons why Mueller couldn't come to a conclusion. And already they're trying to spin it. Well, that's what Barr was doing, was saying this. No, that's what Mueller said, and that's what was in the report. You freaking idiots. You didn't listen, and you're supposed to be a reporter. All you're there to do is try and, how can I hurt Trump? You're not a reporter. You're not looking at anything objectively, and that's kind of the whole thing here. So, go back to the beginning of this whole thing. I quite succinctly remember, and if I have to start putting examples up, every liberal news organization having somebody on, well, I know Trump colluded. There's evidence of it. We have proof. Well, why can't they just say it is and get rid of him? And there's absolutely zero proof found by the special counsel after 1,800 freaking subpoenas and interviewing over 500 witnesses that anybody in the Trump campaign colluded with Russia. I thought y'all said you knew it happened. You know it happened. You have proof. Where the fuck is that proof then? You have none. You lied. And these same asswipes who've been lying for 2 years, absolutely feeding pure lies, show me your damn proof. There's none. All you've been doing is lying for 2 years. Now you say, well, believe us. Barr's just trying to spin it. We're the ones that are truthful and telling the truth. The Barr's just trying to spin it. You've been lying for 2 freaking years. All you've been doing is lying. Every single one of you, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, you fucking liars. Give me one fucking shred of evidence that you were right. All you've been doing is lying. Now you want me to believe you. You have the integrity of an ant's ass at this point. And to sit there and say, well, Barr's just a shoot for president. I don't believe a damn thing you say, and nobody should. You've had 2 years of lying every damn day. Literally every day spinning new lies, and you act like we need to listen to you. You must be a damn idiot. You guys are morons to think you have the integrity to say that we should listen to you. All the news that's fit to lie. New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, Don Lemon, all you've done for 2 years is lie. Show me the proof that you got that Mueller couldn't get. You must have a lot of proof. You don't have a damn shred of it. And you've lied every damn day for 2 years. Period. Point blank. You have zero integrity. You're not a news organization, because if that was news, it would have had some backup to it. It would have been verifiable. You would have been able to collaborate it somehow. Which obviously isn't the case, is it? Is it? Zero integrity. You are not news organizations. Zero. So when you come out with this whole Barr this, Barr that. Well, now this is our take on it. You're lying again. You're going to show that you don't mind doing it because 365 days times 2, you've lied every single one of those days. And if you're out there and you're a liberal and that's what you're saying, but we have to get Trump, I just believe it because we have to get Trump. CNN has less than 1 million viewers. Think about that. There's 330 million people in this country. 28% of them are registered Democrats. That equals, well, let's see, that's about 100 million people. They can't even get 1 million of those to watch their damn network. That's nothing but the hardcore leftists of them who are going to tune in to listen to anything they say they can get Trump. And so at this point, let's talk about the whole instance of them coming up with obstruction of justice. And if the president was, I say, able to be prosecuted for or even recommended charges, he can't indict a sitting president, but if they could recommend charges of perjury, then you can show there was an overt act, and I'll get to that in a minute because I know what you're thinking, that there was an overt act that we can say that doesn't depend on intent. And but Mr. Conservative, he fired Comey. He fired Comey. He fired Comey. Comey lied, released documents to the press illegally. There was recommendations from the FBI council, the council, whatever they call the one about integrity, Office of Integrity and all that, to fire him. There was a recommendation by Rosenstein, and quite frankly, Comey sucked. So yeah, he fired Comey. And although that wasn't a overt act, there was a lot of reason to back up the firing of Comey. And if you want to say, well, it was because he wanted to stop the investigation, you can't fire one person in the FBI, even if it's the lead of the FBI, and have the investigation stop. The investigation still went on. So obviously it wouldn't stop the investigation. So how can he be firing Comey to stop the investigation when it wouldn't stop the investigation and didn't stop the investigation? So no, that doesn't prove he's trying to stop the investigation or obstruct it. And which is why even Mueller didn't recommend that was a guarantee, because it comes down to intent. And there's two things about that intent in this particular instance. And one of the things that Barr said about the emotional state of the president, which actually wasn't Barr, it was repeating that from from Mueller, as why Mueller couldn't come to a decision when you think about everything and why this is important. Just try to explain it to the idiot liberals out there. If you're sitting here and FBI comes around your house, knocks on one day and says, we think you murdered somebody. Well, I didn't murder anybody. And they start investigating you. Next thing you know, you start showing up on the nightly news. Oh, this guy's under investigation of murder, and it affects your job. They're looking at you funny and all that, and you know you didn't murder anybody. It's going to affect you. And that has to come into account for stuff like that that proves intent. So there was no proof of any collusion. The president knows he didn't collude. He's getting hammered every day and lied for 2 years every day in the press. Lies about this. Number one, how can he obstruct justice if he how can he obstruct justice if he knows he didn't do anything wrong to start with? There's no reason for him to do it. So that comes in play intent. Secondly, like the Attorney General said, the Trump administration complied with everything. Exerted no executive privilege, gave them every document they asked for, did not exert executive privilege on having anybody not cooperate with special counsel. That's basically full cooperation. Ergo, he's making no overt attempts to not comply, more or less not to obstruct. And that's where it comes down to be very important. He not only didn't obstruct in his actual actions, Fifth Amendment, you don't have to give those documents, especially if you're the president. You can exert executive privilege. There's a lot you don't have to do that he did. And for them to come down and say that he did all that shows that not only he was fully complying, not only not obstructing, he's fully complying. And that comes down to that intent. You can't show any intent that he actually wanted to obstruct them from finding anything, not just stopping. The whole idea is that obstruction isn't not stopping the investigation. Because not stopping investigation, he could have fired Mueller. He has that privilege. He might have paid a heavy political price for doing that. He could have fired Mueller. He has the executive privilege to do that. But not only not ending the investigation, the obstruction would be trying to keep the truth from the investigators. But the truth is, he knows he didn't ever collude with Russia. So what would he be hiding? There's nothing to hide. And that's where you got to look into intent. How can you hide something that isn't there? He didn't collude. There was no evidence that he colluded with Russia. Therefore, there's nothing to hide and keep them from finding. So, therefore, there's no way that there can be an intent to hide something that doesn't exist. So, for any liberal, especially Nadler, why would the president obstruct justice? There's nothing there to obstruct. There's nothing to hide from the investigators. What are you saying that he tried to hide from the investigators? That's the question. So Nadler and liberals obstructing justice comes down, in this case, if you want to say fine, stopping the investigation. He had the right to do that. Again, would have paid a heavy political price, but he could have fired Mueller. He could have stopped the investigation at any time he wanted to. So he didn't stop the investigation, so that only leaves one thing: hiding evidence from the investigators to find. Well, if you got to hide evidence, there has to be evidence to hide. So what did he hide? If you're asserting that President Trump was obstructing justice by trying to hide evidence so that he wouldn't be found out, what was he hiding? You have to show that. You have to show what he was hiding, trying to hide from the investigators. If there's nothing to hide, you can't show he's trying to hide anything. It's pretty damn simple. Unless you're a liberal. Then you're just damn stupid.